Hello friends, today we are going to discuss instrumentation interview questions and answers. These questions are also very important to understand the basics of instrumentation. So don't skip the video. Let's take our first question. And this question is, what is instrumentation? And it is a very simple question. Look friends, instrumentation is a science. And it is a science of measuring plus controlling in industrial processes. What it measure and control? It measure and control some physical quantities like flow, pressure, temperature, level, etc. So instrumentation is a science of measure plus control. Instrumentation mainly helps in maintaining product quality and in increasing system productivity, and the most important, it ensures safety compliances. It is also an important point, its accurate measurement are essential for automation system to work smoothly. If instrumentation accurate measurements are not present, then automation system will not work smoothly. So accurate measurements are also very helpful to maintain product quality and to increase system productivity and to ensure safety. Now the next question is, what are process variables? So friends, process variables are those parameters that are measured and controlled in a process. We have discussed in instrumentation that instrumentation is a science of measuring and controlling some parameters. And these parameters are known as process variables. So first process parameter is flow. Let's discuss what is flow. Here you can see the simple definition of flow. Friends, flow is the movement of fluid in a system. Suppose there is any pipeline and some fluid is flowing in this pipeline. Suppose the water is flowing. So this movement, if it is flowing slowly, then flow will be less, and if it is flowing fastly, then the flow will be high. So this movement of fluid is known as flow. Some instruments are used to measure the flow, and these instruments are flow meters. You have seen various flow meters are used to measure the flow, like ultrasonic flow meter, electromagnetic flow meter, and some other flow meters are used. The next process variable is temperature. Let's understand it. Temperature is the degree of heat. That means how much hot it is or how much cold it is. If the degree of heat is high, then temperature will be high. If the degree of heat is low, then the temperature will also be low. Look friends, temperature sensors are used to measure the temperature, desired temperature. So many temperature sensors are used, like thermocouples and RTD and temperature gauge. These are some examples of temperature sensors. It is also a very important question in interviews, what instruments are used to measure the temperature. So you will reply, the temperature sensors are used to measure the temperature in industries. And if they ask for example, then you can say RTD, thermocouple, temperature gauges, etc. are used to measure the temperature. The next process variable is pressure. Friends, pressure is the force exerted by a fluid on a surface. Suppose a fluid is flowing in any pipeline, and this fluid will exert a force on its surface. Then this force is known as pressure. The formula of pressure is force upon area. The force exerted per unit area is known as pressure. And here pressure sensors are used to measure pressure, like pressure transmitter. And the next process variable is level. Here the level is the height of material in a container. Suppose we have a container or we have a tank and some material is filled in this tank. Suppose water is filled in this tank. So up to which height the water is filled is known as its level. If water is filled up to this mark, then level will be this. So it will depend on the height of the material which is filled in the container or in any tank. Here level sensors are used to measure desired level. Different type of level sensors are used like ultrasonic level transmitter, DP type level transmitter and other level sensors are used to measure the level. The next question, it is very important question and mainly asked in interviews. What is the difference between sensor and a transducer? Sensor detects only physical quantities like pressure, temperature and generates a raw signal. It is a simple definition of a sensor. And the example of sensor is strain gauge, diaphragm. Now let's discuss the transducer. We have seen that sensor only detects physical quantities, but the difference between sensor and transducer is that transducer not only detects physical quantities, but it converts the signal into a usable electrical signal. So it is an important point. It converts the signal into a usable standard electrical signal. Some usable standard electrical signals are 4 to 20 milliampere, 0 to 10 volt. So sensor only detects and transducer detects plus converts. So this is the basic difference between sensor and transducer. And the example of transducer is pressure transmitter. Let's discuss the next question. What is a control system? Control system manages and regulates the process or any device or machine. Now, these parameters which we have discussed are managed and regulates by a system is known as control system. Next question is also an important question. Differentiate between open loop and closed loop control system. So these two are the control systems and many of the peoples are little bit confused to understand the difference between open loop control system and closed loop control system. Here you can see in this definition, we are using feedback or without feedback. Control system manages and regulates the process, but with using feedback or without using feedback. So these are the control systems. If the system is without using feedback, then it is open loop. Open loop example, you can say a switch. The work of a switch is only to on and off. If its feedback is not given to anywhere, then such type of switch is known as open loop control system. Now let's discuss the closed loop control system. Closed loop control system uses a feedback. In closed loop control system, there will be a closed loop. Let's understand it. Suppose we are controlling any level, or you can control anything, level, pressure, temperature. So we will use a level sensor to measure the level. And we will also use a controller like PID controller. Now the feedback, or we can say the signal measured by the level sensor, is used as a feedback for PID controller. And the output of this PID controller will be given to control valve. Now, as you can see, the control valve will operate, it will open or it will close according to the signal provided by the PID controller. The level or pressure or temperature you are controlling by this PID controller, it will increase or it will decrease after operating the control valve. So this level will also measure by this level sensor, and the signal will be provided as feedback to PID controller. So it is complete closed loop system. So this system is known as closed loop control system. Friends, the next question is, what is calibration? It is a very tricky question and it is a very simple question. So we will understand it in a simple language. What is calibration? It is also asked in many interviews, what is calibration, why calibration is important. So we will discuss. Look friends, the calibration is the process of configuring an instrument. But we are configuring an instrument to provide accurate measurements within a specified range. Suppose we are using a range between suppose A and B. So we will configure an instrument to provide the accurate measurement within this range only. Then it is known as the calibration. Now, the next important question is, why is calibration important? Why we do calibration? What is the importance of calibration? Let's discuss. Regular calibration improves the reliability of a device, or we can say reliability of an instrument, and it also prevents costly downtimes. If we regularly calibrate the instruments, we can prevent our costly downtimes. And the most important importance of calibration is error detection. Calibration finds and fixes errors in instrument readings. By calibrating the instruments, we can find the error. And after find the error, we can fix those errors. Fix means to correct the errors. We will first find the error, then we will correct those errors. Let's understand it with an example. Suppose we are calibrating a pressure transmitter or a pressure gauge. So pressure gauge or pressure transmitter is calibrated to ensure its reading match a known standard value. Here you have to remember one important point, that transmitter or gauge is calibrated to match its reading with a known standard value. Let's understand how we will do calibration. If suppose we are calibrating a pressure gauge or a pressure transmitter, so we will use this instrument and it is known as deadweight tester. Suppose we are calibrating a pressure transmitter. We will generate a pressure by rotating it clockwise. So when we will rotate it clockwise, the pressure will be generated and it will reach here and here because these two are connected. So this is the standard which we have discussed here. Standard value, known standard value. So it is known standard. Known standard means when we are rotating it, it will generate a pressure and its pressure will show here. So we will match its value to this value. This value will also present here, then there will be no error. If there is any mismatching, then error will be there. So we will find and fix the error. Suppose we are calibrating a pressure transmitter and by rotating this wheel, we are developing a pressure. Let's say it is 10 kg per centimeter square. So here will be 10 kg per centimeter square. And here should also be 10 kg per centimeter square. But if it is not 10 kg per centimeter square. Like it may be 9 kg per centimeter square, 8 kg per centimeter square, or 10.5 kg per centimeter square, then there will be an error. So we will correct it by calibration. And friends, it is very essential for maintaining product quality. And the other importance of calibration is industry requirement. Many industries mandate strict calibration schedules for safety and efficiency. Calibration is mainly important for both safety and for efficiency. So many industries strictly follow the calibration schedules. They will calibrate their instruments within a period like after 15 days or after 1 month. So they strictly follow this. So the importance of calibration you can see here, error detection and industry requirements. These are the two main importance of calibration. And the next question is, how does a pressure transmitter work? A pressure transmitter uses a sensing element. Here you can see, friends, these are the pressure transmitters and here it is a sensing element. They use diaphragm for sensing the pressure. This type of pressure transmitter, pen type pressure transmitter, you can see diaphragm here, and this type of pressure transmitter also uses diaphragm here. Pressure transmitters measure pressure and convert it into a standard electrical signal. Here, one thing you need to know that it converts into a standard electrical signal. That means 4 to 20 milliampere. Suppose a pressure transmitter is installed in a pipeline or on a tank. It will show the pressure here. It will show its pressure reading here and it will convert this pressure reading into 4 to 20 milliampere signal. If we talk about the working of a pressure transmitter, its working involves three main steps. The first one is sensing the pressure and the another one is converting it into an electrical signal. But remember this point, into a standard electrical signal, 4 to 20 milliampere. And after this, transmitting it for processing. Our next question is, what are the differences between RTD and thermocouple? This is a very important question and asked in many interviews. So we will discuss some important differences between RTD and thermocouple. Both are temperature sensors, both are used for temperature measurement. But what are the differences between these? So let's see. The first main difference is their working principle. RTD works on resistance change principle, but thermocouple works on Seebeck effect. When RTD is installed anywhere, its resistance will change according to temperature. But thermocouple works on Seebeck effect. Here voltage is generated at junctions of two different metals. Two different metals are used and two junctions are formed and a voltage is generated in thermocouple. Next main difference is their temperature ranges. RTD is used for limited range. It is used for up to 800 or 850 degrees Celsius. But thermocouples are used for wider range. They are used up to 2300 degrees Celsius to 2200 degrees Celsius depending upon the types. And the next difference is accuracy. RTD is highly accurate, but thermocouple accuracy is little bit lower in comparison to RTD. Now come to the response time. If we talk about the response time, RTD response time is slower and thermocouple response time is faster than RTD. Now the signal type, we have also discussed that RTD will provide the signal as a resistance. RTD output is resistance and thermocouple output is millivolt. This is the main difference, signal type difference between RTD and thermocouple. If we talk about the cost, RTD cost will be higher and thermocouple cost will be lower than the RTD. Let's discuss the next question. What is the working principle of a flow meter? As we have discussed, the flow meters are used to measure the flow. So different types of flow meters are used according to the applications. So let's discuss some important flow meters and their working principle. The first one is differential pressure flow meter, and it is also known as DP type because D means differential and P means pressure. DP type flow meter. Here orifice plate is used to create the differential pressure. This type of orifice plate is used. Here input is present and here output is present. So when we insert orifice in a pipeline, so this will create a pressure difference. And by using this pressure difference, flow will be calculated by the DP type flow meter or DP type flow transmitter. Next one is electromagnetic flow meter, is also known as mag flow meter. Friends, mag flow meter works on Faraday's law. And remember one point, it is used in conductive fluids or used with conductive fluids. When the fluids are conductive, then only we will use electromagnetic flow meter. Next one is ultrasonic flow meter. They measures flow by detecting changes in sound waves. And another one is Coriolis mass flow meter. It works on the Coriolis effect. This one is the Coriolis mass flow meter. You can easily recognize the Coriolis mass flow meter. You will have this type of U-tube with Coriolis mass flow meter. This one is electromagnetic flow meter. This one is DP type flow transmitter. And this one is ultrasonic. So friends, this was our video. Thanks for watching.